Hello, hello. We good? You guys can hear me? You guys can hear me okay? Man, if we got some viewers, that'd be nice. Oh, yeah, we got some viewers. All right. Hopefully soon I want to be able to start a stream without having to ask, is my audio okay? That's the dream, because I should just be able to know that the audio is okay before we even start. You know what I mean? But we're not quite there yet. This is, I think, stream number 2 of better audio. If you guys remember Memorial Day last week, we had it, no, 2 weeks ago. Last week. 2 weeks ago? Last week. Yeah, that was the first time we upped the audio. So right now here's the things we've got. Good internet, right? We've got better internet right now. Good audio. We just need a better webcam. Hey, Aslan, what's up? So if we get all those things, Scotch, what's up? Haven't seen you in a bit. Totally not AJ, haven't seen you in a bit. Seen some familiar faces. Maybe I just haven't noticed, but I don't know. So, we are back to streaming on Mondays. I don't know if you guys forgot about that, but Mondays is the new day. Last time we hit some insane number, I think we broke 2,000 viewers, but it was also Memorial Day. So, I don't really know if that's going to be the norm. Harrison T. Otto with the question of the day from the start. How was your vacation, Morge? I was on vacation. It was a good vacation. I was with friends from college, so not really a reunion, but we do see each other, I guess, like once a year. And it was good. We went to Denver, Colorado, and Rocky Mountains, and my guy is 240. What the F, says Griswo. What are you talking about? Is that the time where you are? The time where I am is 8:40. I shouldn't even have told you guys that. I'm on the East Coast. It's messed up there. Went to the Rocky Mountains, was pretty good. Rise says, did you play Melee? No, not at all. Justin Holland says, Zeus and Nami staff. Okay, so let me talk about the chapter a little bit, since you guys don't care about my vacation, probably. Last chapter, I did not give the best review, because it was I'm kind of pulling up the chapter at the same time. I did not give a very comprehensive review. Why? Because so many things happened. I was not in a One Piece chapter reviewing mode. You know, I was, again, like, I didn't even read the chapter the day it came out. Or no, I did, but it was just like later in the day, later at night. Basically, I had to read it on my phone, which I don't enjoy. And I just decided I'm going to do a review, because how can I skip out on a review of this great chapter? Right? Just too much stuff happened. So it's kind of like a quick, when I can squeeze in the time, let me sit outside the Airbnb and just squeeze in a review. So I tried to make it as comprehensive as possible, but there were certain things I just didn't get time to talk about. Two things I really wanted to talk about were the Sanji and Zoro interaction, because even though it was a small, quick panel, funniest Zoro-Sanji moment I think I've seen in, I don't know, maybe the funniest Zoro-Sanji moment I've seen in, like, maybe since literally the first time that they did that gag. You know, the first time when it was like, oh, I'm worth 1,000 men, well, I'm worth 2,000, right? Or not, I'm worth, you know, when Nami says, Luffy says Sanji's worth 1,000, Zoro's like, well, I'm worth 2,000, Nami's patting his head. I think since then, this was the funniest Zoro-Sanji moment. I mean, Sanji wasn't even part of that moment. I really like this. I don't know, it's just a very casual, quick, comedic beat that just, I don't know, it works, it fits so well, because Sanji had, you know, he's giving Zoro his props, but he's also, like, backhanding it a little bit just because he can, and right now he's the one, you know, with the steering wheel, because Zoro's in a cast, so Sanji can kind of do whatever he wants. You know, just a backhanded, quick little, oh yeah, he's worth a lot. I mean, he's worth like 10 men or something, and Zoro's obviously got to bounce back with the 2,000. I don't know. I don't need to explain that gag. You guys understand why it's funny. You're not stupid. I mean, most of you aren't. A lot of you are, actually. But it was a really funny gag. I really like that. One of my favorite, I think the Zoro-Sanji moments have been great, actually, as of late. Really great Zoro-Sanji moments. We had that really good serious one, more so when Sanji was actually, you know, he had found Zoro explained what had happened, etc., etc. And then this chapter, I think, another really great just little moment in the Zoro-Sanji dynamic. Love it. The other thing was the Nami-Zeus situation. So let's talk about that. I think and the Eustace Kid Trafalgar Law Big Mom situation. So we got multiple things that we can talk about. Blazing Blue, thanks a lot. The carp saving Luffy theory ended in failure. I mean, that was I think we all knew that the submarine was the more likely one, but I was definitely on board with the carps thing. The submarine thing basically, it's the most acceptable explanation for everyone. It's the one that just like logically makes the most sense. The carp is like the little more magical sort of answer, like, oh, because it's Luffy, he gets this little carp thing. Hey Morge, how would you feel if after we fail when morale is already low, we have discourse in the crew through Zoro finding out Sanji disrespected Luffy? That's a really good question. I've thought about that. Like, what kind of, if things don't work out here, what kind of discourse, what kind of breakdowns happen amongst the group, amongst the Straw Hats? Where do they go from there? And that is a good point. Like, maybe that is something that comes up. I personally hope it doesn't become a actual point of contention. Like, maybe it's just something that, Zoro throws in Sanji, like, Zoro hears about it, he gets mad on top of other things, and it's just, I hope it doesn't turn into a long-term grudge where, like, Zoro is actually demanding an apology from Sanji before he's let back into the crew, similar to the Usopp situation, because Sanji's similar situation, it's not, like, the thing that people misconstrue with that situation is that there's a very big difference between just choosing to leave the crew like Usopp did for your own reasons, like you as a person no longer feel like you want to be part of this crew, you choose to go your separate way, and then you come back because you've changed your mind and realized you liked it better here, right? That's what Usopp did. He was just like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here, I don't want to be with you guys anymore. Versus the Nami and Robin situation, and that's what Sanji's situation is much closer to. Zoro would never demand an apology from Nami after the Arlong Park incident. Zoro would never demand an apology from Robin from the Enies Lobby incident. Like, just why did Zoro not demand an apology from Robin, whereas he did from Usopp? Because those are two very different situations. That's the point. I think just the fact that you look at the fact that Zoro demanded an apology from one of them but not the other should tell you everything. That these are very different situations. When one character is being forced to put on, there's external forces that are pushing them to do something that they don't want to do, something that they otherwise normally would not do, basically forcing them to put on an act. Robin essentially had to put on an act that she did not want to be with the Straw Hat crew when deep down in her heart that's all she wanted. Nami had to put on an act that she was just betraying the Straw Hats because she just didn't like them and she wanted to work with Arlong all along. Ha 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 ha. I'm just like a nasty evil manipulator, when in reality she missed those friends and she wanted to be with them. Same with Sanji. He was putting on an act in order to, that he didn't want to be with the crew anymore, in order to essentially protect Zeph and also protect them to a degree in his mind. Was his reasons justified? Maybe, maybe not, but that wasn't what he wanted to do, right? Whereas with Usopp, that wasn't an act. That was everything that Usopp was worried about and feeling on the inside. No one was forcing him to do anything in that situation. That was Usopp's raw internal feelings. He did not respect Luffy as a captain. Sanji very, very, very much respects Luffy as a captain. He ended up having to do something that he really, really did not want to in that situation. Usopp did not respect Luffy as a captain. Usopp felt that the direction that the crew was headed was not something he agreed with. Usopp felt that they were going to leave him behind, so he said, fuck you guys, I'm going to leave you first. Everything that happened in that situation was that was the most raw and real that Usopp has ever been. Whereas with Nami, Robin, and Sanji, that was all of them having to do things that they really, really didn't want to do because of external reasons. So I just don't think that those are the same things. I would be fine with that becoming a topic of argument and discussion between Zoro and Sanji, but I would not be cool with it if like that actually turns into a thing where like now Sanji has to actually apologize to Luffy the same way that Usopp did, because it's so different. It would be like if Robin went through everything she did in Enies Lobby and then they made her apologize. Or if Nami went through everything she did in Arlong Park and they made her apologize. It's ridiculous. Mason Fuller, thanks a lot. So now that Nami's climate attack appears to be a homie and has a face, could this have the potential to be a route for objects to eat devil fruits? That is a great point. I don't think that they're similar in that sense, but like maybe it can tell it. No, I just don't think that they're similar in that sense, right? Unless it's something along the lines of essentially the essence of a devil fruit can be extracted and imbued in anything, because it feels like it's possible that while Zeus himself died, part of the essence of what made Zeus got imbued in the climate attack. It's very hard to say. I think we need to see a little more of that. But I like how it happened that, now Zeus is literally one with Nami's weapon, essentially, right? So let's find out a little bit more before we can, make any claims on that. Ev Jatom, thanks a lot. Celebrating the raid failing. The raid didn't fail yet, but thanks. You're the Messiah. Okay, we don't want to go that far, but Yeah. Omar Gaskin says, I agree he won't demand an apology, but he could be mad at Luffy for going to get Sanji and bringing Big Mom back with him. Yes, there are definitely, I think that the Sanji situation, it's not quite as cut and dry as the Nami and Robin situation, but I think it's much closer to those two than the Usopp situation. So I would say that how I would personally be very comfortable with it happening would be anything in the range of Zoro being angry. At least he can be angry with Luffy, he can be angry with Sanji, etc. At least it becoming a topic of discussion and debate, raising some questions in the or creating a bit of a grudge or something like that. Them like not being able to get along for a while, or them staying away from for each other from a while or something. I don't know. I'm okay with like a million things happening off of that, except for if it ends up being a thing where Zoro is forcing Sanji to literally bow his head and make an apology like it's the Usopp situation. Otherwise, he's not going to let Sanji back on the crew. I think that would be pretty ridiculous. GDN says, Morge, are you a fake Indian? Depends what you mean by that. What do you mean by that? By blood, I'm Indian. By birth, I'm Indian. I was born in India. I speak Hindi. I think I was in India. Last time I was in India was at the end of 2019. Yeah, that was the last time I was in India. My family is Indian. I think by all accounts, I'm Indian. What did I miss? Mr. Moore says, I don't know. I don't know what you missed. I don't know what you came in. Cesar Romero says, Denjiro versus Smoothie hype. Ooh, I don't know. That feels like a little random because they really have no. Like, I don't think Oda is doing matchups just for the sake of doing matchups when it comes to the Scabbards. So at least with all of the Scabbards, Oda's choosing their matchups based on some sort of prior reason. Okay, so for example, Kinemon, Kanjuro, that ended up happening essentially because Kanjuro took out Kiku. Kiku, Kanjuro, that was already set up a little bit vaguely, right? So Kinemon, Kanjuro, Kiku, that was a triad of characters where like you can understand why what happened, right? Then Raizo, Fukurokuju, that's just a matchup that is set up because they're both ninjas and Raizo defected or something along those lines. I forget exactly what happened, but he was no longer part of Fukurokuju's ninja group. Then Inuarashi Jack, set up since Zou. Nekomamushi Perospero, a little weaker, but set up through Pedro, so on and so forth. So all of the Scabbards are essentially getting a matchup that is related to what, like, to their story, right, a little bit, right? So it's a pre-planned matchup to a degree. Denjiro Smoothie would be a little random. Denjiro has no relationship to Smoothie whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? It would just be a matchup for the sake of giving Denjiro a matchup against someone that's somewhat strong. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. I'm just giving my reasoning for why I feel like it doesn't quite fit with what the trend so far has been amongst who's getting the fights. You know what I mean? Visse says, I hope we see the Monster Trio versus Kaido or Straws versus Kaido. That'd be so cool. So it's interesting to bring that up. I definitely believe that we will at some point. Maybe not right now, maybe not this act, maybe not immediately, but at some point, we will be seeing the Straw Hats lined up against Kaido. I think to protect Luffy. Let me give you the reason for that. I think that the Straw Hats will get to fight Kaido to protect Luffy for a degree, while Luffy has to get back up or something like that at some point this arc, simply because I think that that's a lot of what it came down to with the Oden and the Scabbards dynamic. And I think that the reason that Oda is playing up the Oden and the Scabbards dynamic so much is that it has to, I do believe it'll mean something in the end. Like, showing some example of what the Straw Hats, how the Scabbards failed Oden in a sense. That's essentially what the Scabbards told us back at Zou, that they were supposed to be the ones to protect Oden, but up till the very end, Oden had to keep protecting them. I think the same thing has to apply here. Even just the start of this whole saga was like Luffy telling the Straw Hats that, like, look, even if we're going, you can go back to Punk Hazard, read it. Luffy telling the Straw Hats that even if we're getting into this alliance to take down a Yonko, I'm not worried about it because I know that you guys have trained and everything like that and gotten strong enough to for me to rely on you. I would really, really like it to see the Straw Hats essentially be for Luffy what the Scabbards were unable to be for Oden. Not to blame the Scabbards, I mean, like, they got in some really good hits on Kaido and everything like that when they really went at it against him. I'm just saying that, like, by their own admission, at the end of the day, Oden was the guy who always had to hold up the largest burden by himself. So I would really, really like a scene of the Straw Hats essentially getting to protect Luffy for some period of time and being able to fight against Kaido themselves for some period of time, just long enough for Luffy to get back in it. And I think that goes a lot towards, like, what the leader needs to be to his followers, but then also what the followers need to be to their leader. You know what I mean? So I like those ideas. I strongly believe that it's very likely simply because a lot of this arc is based off of Thriller Bark, which in itself featured a lot of the Straw Hats doing team battles against Oars, while Luffy was out of commission, and generally an arc that stressed the importance of good subordinates. Black Bolt, thanks a lot. You're forgetting the fact that Sanji fought Luffy and knocked him out after Luffy and the gang came all the way to Whole Cake Island after him. I think Zoro spaz. Yeah, but it depends on the reasoning behind it, right? I mean, like, Nami literally stabbed Zoro after Zoro came to get her. You remember that? Oh, no, my bad. Nami didn't stab Zoro. My bad. That was fake. That was all fake, and it was Usopp, right? So Nami pretended to stab Usopp. But Nami did some shit to them, right? She hit Zoro back in his wounds, right? Right after Zoro just came off of a life and death battle with Mihawk and was, like, basically mortally injured, she did hit Zoro in his wounds, right? Same thing. She knocked Usopp out, threw him in the river, right? Like, that's what happens when you're under duress, right? You're forced to do certain things to keep up an act. Robin did some shit to them too, right? Robin essentially left them to die multiple times with the entire CP9 situation. Not left them to die, she knew they wouldn't die in those situations, but they got all the way to the sea train and Robin just tossed Usopp back. You know what I mean? Like, Robin was very actively trying to resist any sort of method of help, and she wasn't afraid to essentially, like, toss the Straw Hats back to their old sea train and everything like that. Robin's maybe not the best example in that case, but Nami definitely is. Nami did some shit to them. She stole their ship, hit Zoro in his wounds, and just basically practically knocked Usopp the fuck out. So, like, yes, what Sanji did was a bit more extreme, but it's nothing new. The point still stands. When you're doing things under duress, it's not the same. Right? When you're doing things under duress, it's not the same. And I don't really get what the point is when you're saying that, well, they went all the way to Whole Cake Island and Sanji still refused. They went all the way to Arlong Park to get Nami back and she refused. They went all the way to Annie's lobby to get Nico Robin and she refused. So, like, that's just par for the course. How's that any different? Globo Jim, thanks a lot. What sort of upgrade do you think Usopp will get this arc? I would always prefer it to be something hockey related. I like Usopp getting better at hockey related things. I think that fits him better than just getting better weapons because I feel like Usopp, like, hockey growth to me is more representative of character growth in general. So, I mean, the first time Usopp's hockey bloomed, it was very much a result of the growth that he'd experienced throughout that arc, essentially sacrificing himself for the Tontadas, learning a little bit to, how in that moment it seemed like learning, like he had a sort of self-reflective moment, I think, at the very least, in terms of, like, what his use to Luffy is and how he's happy being the sniper for the crew and defending from far and fighting from far away, etc. Like, Usopp came into his own in many ways throughout that arc, and he was essentially rewarded with a hockey bloom. Because, look, if he gets better weapons, sure, he finds some sea stone, throws that in his arsenal, stuff like that. That's totally normal, totally fine, but a hockey bloom is not something you can just pick up and use. It's something that usually comes from you having some sort of realization or something like that. The same way that Zoro, he had to go through certain things in Alabasta to have his hockey come out. The same way Luffy went through so much throughout Sabaody, Amazon Lily, and Marineford to have his Conqueror's Spirit start coming out. Same way Luffy did in Whole Cake Island, and same way Usopp did in Dressrosa. I think hockey blooms are generally the best sort of, like, they fit character growth the best in terms of the type of upgrade they are. So I hope to see that for Usopp. Sobamas says, fools, Nami will defeat Kaido with Happiness Punch. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Kaido is that susceptible to Happiness Punch. It's hard to say. We know Kaido likes his Black Maria. Thank God Kaido found Black Maria. Otherwise, like, God no, we won't. Let's not try to think about this too much. But, like, God help whatever women Kaido has been with in the past that were just normal-sized human beings. Like, good God, what must they have gone through? Thank God he found Black Maria, right? Thank God he found Black Maria. Like, people ask, like, what happened to Yamato's mother? What happened to, Kaido's wife, his woman? Like, just think about it for a second. It's not that hard to imagine what happened. Like, one night with Kaido? Good God. Globo Jim, what sort of upgrade do you think Usopp will get this arc? Oh, no, we just talked about that. Justin Holland, nice to meet you. Not meet you, see you again. Sorry, brain's a little off. Similar to the Dressrosa situation, when Luffy manages to push Doflamingo to the point of being one hit away from defeat, you mean? Yeah, it doesn't have to necessarily be a mirror of the Dressrosa situation, but I think definitely maybe Luffy's just finished using Gear 4th. Maybe he needs. I guess that is similar to the Dressrosa situation. Maybe it is even just like about before Luffy's. Maybe he's injured from some other fight or something like that, and before he can get into it with Kaido, he needs some rest time or something like that, and the Straw Hats stall long enough before that can battle. Before that battle can begin. I would really like to see something like that. Dressrosa situation might not be too far off. Martin Castro, thanks a lot. If the raid fails, will that unlock your Conqueror's Haki? On a serious note, any special video if it does. If the raid, okay, no matter what, no matter what, there will be a full Wano Act 3 analysis whenever Wano Act 3 ends. So whether that's about the raid failing or not, like whether the raid fails or doesn't fail, it doesn't matter. There will be a full analysis after the act ends. So, yeah, it won't necessarily be because the raid failed, but if the raid failing coincides with the end of the act, then that will obviously be like a huge chunk of like that'll just be what the majority of the conversation of the analysis will be focused on. Harrison Tiato, thanks a lot. Hey Morge, what do you think about the parallel of father relationships this chapter? Kinemon Momo, Yamato Kaido. Oh, that is pretty good. I like that. I didn't think about that. Partly because I think the Yamato bit at the end was, I guess it's setting up for that new start. I don't think that Kinemon Momo, it's more a guardian-child relationship. Like there is obviously a parental sort of like Kinemon played his parental figure for a long time, obviously, but it depends on how much you want to read into that being a hard parallel. Like you could make the case that it's a hard parallel to Yamato and Kaido, but at the same time, you know, we've been running with Momo and Oden being the parallel to Yamato, Kaido, etc. So, but you can have multiple parallels that fit. That is a good point. Blazing Blue, thanks a lot. Thoughts on Denjiro versus Orochi since he worked... By the way, that Kinemon scene, one of my favorite scenes, I think, lately. I don't know why. I think just in the flow of the chapter. I think more so because of how it made Kaido look and how it made Kaido feel, because Kinemon's really struggling. Right? Kinemon's really struggling. Kaido's just giving this cold speech as he just lifts the knife. Not knife, it looks like a knife in his hands. The sword, and just stabs him while he's down. It's... I don't know. I don't know. Kaido's been making quite the impression lately. Blazing Blue, thanks a lot. Thoughts on Denjiro versus Orochi since he worked under him for so long? Possibly even Denjiro versus Cypherpole since they're connected to Orochi as well. Denjiro versus Orochi, that's a good point, because I was just talking a little bit ago about, you know, the, like, at least a little bit of setup for each of the Scabbard matchups that we're getting so far, right? There's been a little bit of, like, none of them are really coming out of nowhere. Like, some of them feel like they're coming out of nowhere, like, I guess, Kiku Kanjuro, but Oda's just pushing that, and, I mean, it happened at the start of when they arrived on the island and such, and Kiku and Kanjuro were one of the few Scabbards to be sent in the future. It kind of makes sense. Raizo Fukurokuju, it's a thin thread, but it's a thread nonetheless that Oda's pulling into play. So Denjiro versus Orochi, I think that is a good one. I think that's a good one. We know that, Denjiro basically, actually, it's so many things with Denjiro. Okay, so I might have to do a reread of the flashback, but with Denjiro, as I remember, Denjiro was he the one who was pestering Oden in the first place about, like, why do you keep lending money to Orochi? I think that might have been the case because Denjiro was in charge of the treasury and such. So even from all the way back then, Denjiro had bad feelings about Orochi. Then we know that Oden's death affected Denjiro in a very visceral way that it didn't the others, right? So Denjiro's rage literally transformed him into, like, physically transformed him into a new appearance. So I think that, and then he worked under Orochi for so long, so I think there is a very strong argument that maybe it comes down to Denjiro Orochi. Hopefully Orochi gets a stronger form to make it a good matchup, but we'll see. Ricky Elion says, John Bart was a super famous pirate RL. What do you think his future in One Piece will be? Oh, I had no idea about that. Why is he just like, he's not even Law's number 2. He's like Law's number 3 or something like that. He's not even number 2 on Law's crew. The number 2 on Law's crew is literally a bear, a talking bear. He's behind Beppo. He's literally like one of the most famous pirates in history is like taking up the number 3 spot on a side character's crew behind a talking bear. That's very strange. I have no reasoning for that. Is Jean Bart? Jean Bart was on the submarine, right? So maybe his importance, we're underestimating it to a degree. I mean, it is interesting that he came from the slave house. Maybe there's something more interesting Oda wants to do with his character that we're not expecting just yet. That's good. I didn't know that. Thanks for filling me on that. I didn't know he was important. Captain Face, thanks a lot. I can see Frankie losing to Sasaki like the Usopp and Nami situation, but being saved by Denjiro given his relationship with Sasaki. Frankie should get a Seastone upgrade for the Frankie Shogun. Oh, you think Denjiro versus Sasaki? That did seem to get set up earlier on, for sure. I thought that we were actually, when Denjiro tied up Sasaki, I actually thought for sure that like we're going to be getting that, getting a matchup there. But, yeah, it went to Frankie instead, which I'm perfectly happy with. I don't know about that, just because then who does Frankie fight? But then again, I also don't think that the Straw Hats win here, so it wouldn't really matter. Frankie could just fight him later. Bastiano T, thanks a lot. Luffy was protected by his crew in Thriller Bark. He failed to protect them in Sabaody and failed to save Ace later. Now it's time. Now it's Luffy's time to show he can protect his crew, which Kaido directly threatened. Kaido, I don't... No, it's not the same. Kaido hasn't... I definitely agree that Luffy has to show he can protect his crew, because that was the running idea throughout Sabaody and Marineford. That was the entire thing that was set up from there. But I'm saying it's a two-sided thing, right? Like, that was the main takeaway. Like, Luffy, I'm too weak, I can't protect the people, etc. That was, in fact, it's been a thread since Enies Lobby. That was when Luffy realized... Enies Lobby was when Luffy realized he needed to be able to protect his crew, right? Then Sabaody was when he failed to protect his... Thriller Bark was when he was warned he wouldn't be able to protect his crew. Sabaody was when he realized that he was too weak to protect his crew, and then Moria was right. And then Marineford basically hammered it in with him losing Ace, which was also reflective of just the fact that he's not strong enough to be able to protect what he wants, right? So that's a running thread for sure. But the entire time, his crew is also being told repeatedly that they need to be strong enough to protect Luffy, right? They failed to protect Luffy in Thriller Bark. They were only spared because Kuma was a nice guy, right? In general, if you go back and read throughout the post-Marineford segment, it's all of the Straw Hats realizing that they need to be able to step up and protect Luffy and that they need to become stronger pillars of support for him. So that's what's so beautiful about it. It's a two-sided thing. Luffy's realizing he needs to hit a certain level to be able to protect them no matter what, and they're realizing that they need to reach a certain level to be the subordinates of the Pirate King and really be able to hold him up. So what I would imagine is them first defending Luffy from Kaido, and then Luffy having to defend them from Kaido, right? So they do their work, they get their work done, and then it's on Luffy to do the rest and protect them from Kaido. So that's, to me, that would be the beauty of it. I feel like that has been set up with so much being stressed about the Oden-Scabbard dynamic, where one was a good leader in certain ways, but not in other ways, where they were good subordinates in certain ways, but not other ways. I really hope that that's what their arc is heading to, but we'll have to wait and see. Krishna Vamsi, thanks a lot. Hi, Morge, what is the opinion on Yamato's horns? I mean, most of his devil horns... I don't know how much the horns play into it, because as far as we know, the Kaido horns didn't really play into his appearance at the end of the day either, right? Like what his devil fruit was either. It's just a dragon devil fruit. I mean, it didn't end up being an Oni devil fruit like a lot of people thought, so I'm not sure. Christian Hernandez, who do you think Zoro is fighting next? I'm going to go with the simple answer and just say King. I'm just going to say King. That's the simple answer. I would love for it to be something a little more out of the box, like Orochi, if Orochi turns out to be very, very strong. Zoro did express a desire to kill Orochi. It's one of his few actual motivations throughout this arc that have been set up. But Orochi doesn't seem to be strong at the moment, and if I have to bet on the simple horse, I would bet on King. I would rather it be Orochi, but if I'm betting money, I would bet it on King. I would guess that Marco would heal Zoro up since Marco's a little gassed at the moment. Marco heals Zoro up, allow him to fight King. Of course, if this isn't the final battle, then hopefully Zoro doesn't have to even be healed up and he can kind of just chill for a bit. Shakmaner F24, what do you think of Zeus' soul transferring Nami's climb attack? How, and will it affect her more than... so that's the question that was asked a little bit ago. Also just thank Diamond Penny, who just says, no question, just love your content. Thank you very much, Diamond. I appreciate that a lot. So in terms of Nami's climb attack, I prefer the idea that Zeus has done enough and not I don't think it's that important that they're dynamic. We spend too much time on bonding those two together. I think we've gotten enough, through Whole Cake Island and bits and pieces throughout, this latest section in Act 3 to kind of set up that Zeus and Nami are going to be a thing from here on, like a running team. And this, to me, I kind of just want a bit more of an explanation of how it happened. But once we get that explanation, I'd be very happy if Zeus is just now a permanent addition to Nami's arsenal and just, intrinsically tied to the climb attack. So it's not some complicated, are you on my side, not on my side, I have to keep you happy sort of thing. It's just Zeus is Nami's weapon now. Bristly, thank you very much. Who do you think has been the most useless straw at this arc? Well, we don't like talking about stuff like that. But if I had to say most useless strat this arc, let me think. So if we run down the list, it's not Luffy, obviously. It's not Zoro, obviously. Nami. No, Nami's been useful. She came up with the Kibidangos and stuff. No, maybe that was more Satama's idea, but she was involved. Usopp, has Usopp really done anything big? He shot the Kibidangos. Sanji just came in clutch, plus some Silver Mask stuff earlier. Frankie, I think, still has some stuff to show. Robin, I think Robin and Frankie are getting their moments right now. You know, they're getting their moments right now, so it's not really fair. Maybe Brook, because Brook had the least to do during Act 2, and he hasn't done pretty much anything in Act 3 so far, so I'm going to run with Brook. I think Brook has been the most useless so far, but like they're going to get their moments, they're going to get their fights. Monkey D Meme, thanks a lot. Luffy versus Scott Green, Zoro versus Mr. One, Sanji never had fights like these where you bring up a good point. So Monkey D Meme talks about how Sanji's never had these fights where he had to surpass his limits. Do you think he will get one in Wano? Most of Sanji's fights weren't hard until the enemy used a trick. You're very, very right. I've done videos on this. Oda just doesn't like writing everybody's fights the same way. In fact, the strat that more so surpasses his limits frequently and kind of is sort of driven to the brink of like exhaustion, pain, etc., than Sanji is Usopp. So really, Oda usually runs that sort of line with Luffy, Zoro, and Usopp. And those are just kind of the characters that Oda prefers to write in that sort of manner. I do think that Oda writes Zoro and Sanji very similar in certain ways, and like kind of, I've talked about this before. Sometimes he likes to do it a pyramid with Luffy on the top, Zoro and Sanji at the bottom. Other times it's more like Luffy and Zoro are special, and Sanji is like a step behind but still very strong and part of that trio for sure. I think in terms of character, there are certain things, and part of it goes towards like the qualities of a king, the qualities of those trying to rise to the very top of the world, that Oda prefers to bring that out in Luffy and Zoro's fights by making them a little more like pushing past your limits, willpower-based things, and he prefers to make Sanji a little more unique by showing he's very, very strong, but he also has to think a little bit too, and that's kind of his separate niche, which is why it's not as good to write his fights in the same manner. So I think that trend would continue, and it almost makes Sanji look better in some ways in that he tends to win his fights against very, very strong opponents with greater ease than, say, a Zoro. Like, I imagine Sanji will beat Queen with greater ease than Zoro will beat King. You can see that trend all the way back to Alabasta, through Enies Lobby, etc. Like, Zoro's getting a stronger opponent, and he's having to push himself more, but Sanji is beating a closely strong opponent with greater ease. So that's kind of, you know, it's a give and take. There's pros and cons to it. And it fits their characters more, which is what's important. Omar Gaskin, thanks a lot. In 1015, we see a panel with Jinbei and someone in silhouette. Later on, we see who's who in a different panel. Do you think anything's going on there? I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm going to have to reread 1015. I'm going to have to reread 1015 because it was a quick... No, I have reread it, but I think I need one more reread because the first read was very quick. There's so much content... And the second read was Viz just to check the translation, so that was another skim, basically. That chapter just had so much content that, like, certain things that stuck out to people, like you can read that and get, like, so much out of it and guess and speculate about so many different things. So, like, the silhouettes, I don't know. Maybe it's Toki. Maybe it's Hiyori. You know, maybe it's one of those sort of things, like, because there is a hidden figure we know, at least on this island. Shia Jetson, thanks a lot. With Zeus' help, does it make Nami a decent powerhouse, and where does power scaling go now? Yeah, I mean, like, Nami has always been the best glass cannon, essentially, out of the combatants, basically. What's going on here? She's always been quite the glass cannon, right? So Nami's always been a glass cannon. I think that it just continues to scale. Like, she's always actually had an argument, ever since she really got the climate attack down, she's always had an argument for the strongest attacks, almost. Like, in Enies Lobby, obviously Luffy has Gear Thirds, Zoro's Ashura, and stuff like that. But Nami's lightning, like, if you look at the Oars battle, for example, the single attack that did the most damage to Oars was Nami's lightning. Like, that's just the reality of it. Like, you can go back, like, a single giant lightning bolt from Nami. It takes some time for her to set up and charge it and stuff, but a single massive lightning bolt from Nami, that, like, literally stopped Oars in his tracks. Like, it stopped a fairly large attack from him and everything like that. Like, ever since she got lightning, she's been pretty much always, like, I'm not going to say she always has the strongest attacks out of the crew or anything, but her peak strongest attacks, which are very large area of effect lightning attacks, they've always been very, very strong. even relative to the Monster Trio, right? They're right up there with some of their big finishing moves. So I think that just scales appropriately with her now getting Zeus. Does that make sense? So, you know, it doesn't really change her power scaling in that sense because overall as a fighter, she's not fast, she's not strong, she can get beaten by many, many different things, anything that happens close quarters or anything like that. But it's just that her upper end, if she gets the proper setups, if she's able to use her wits properly to distract until she gets the proper setups, she's right up there with anybody else. Justin Holland, thanks a lot. How do you think the Strahd's victory over Kaido will be broadcasted? I believe it happens in the Flower Capital, Morgan's, and other news outlets. I think that if we're talking about the outside world, then we know that it's going to be. We know that essentially. How do you say? We know that that somehow that the Wano is going to be opened up to the outside world in a sense. We don't know exactly what that means, but we know it's going to be opened up to the outside world. So whatever we see at the end of Wano will be a more open, public knowledge sort of island, right? So we don't know exactly how that's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Now, it could be something as simple, if, let's say it's not something as immediate, right? Like, oh, it's not like something the news crew or whatever traveling to Wano to carry the news. But CP0 is there. So as soon as CP0 reports it to back to the world government or something like that, I don't think it's too many steps away from, big news Morgans to finding out, and then that's like basically an immediate headline right afterwards, right? I mean, everybody has their information sources. Like, Blackbeard is aware of what's going on in Wano. He showed us that in chapter 925. The Marines are aware of what's going on in Wano. We know that because they have spies and everything like there. CP0 knows what's going on in Wano because they literally are there. So news gets out very quickly. So all of the major factions will get it as soon as Kaido is defeated. And then all that takes is like, it'll probably all happen in the span of a chapter. Like, we just show like one person tipping off Big News Morgans, and then all of a sudden all of the news is out there. So that's how I imagine it. Sharkman RF24, thanks a lot. If Smoker joins the Strats, what do you think Tashigi will do? I believe that Tashigi's storyline still potentially has importance in Wano. Because, like, I think it's very, very possible that Oda has things planned for Tashigi that are related to Wano. Wano is where this sort of, like, women swordsmen, right? That has been a thing in Wano. Or not in Wano, in One Piece in general. It's something that came up with Kuina. It's something that came up with Zoro and Tashigi as a conversation point in Punk Hazard. And it's a thing in Wano, right? Like, that's like where a lot of these old-fashioned ideals are very, very prevalent. And it's a country with swords that Tashigi is also obsessed with. So I do think that Tashigi has a lot of potential. If Smoker and Tashigi make their way over to Wano, I think there's a tremendous amount of potential for character arcs for both of them that could lead them in separate directions. So Tashigi, I think, she doesn't have to be tied to Smoker to the end of the story. I think they can both learn something about themselves there that can set them on certain paths. That's all I have to say. Ricky Elion, thanks a lot. My payment messed up on my last message. Fixed it. Sorry, bro. Yeah, you don't have to apologize at all. I don't know what you're apologizing for. Thanks a lot. What was your last message? Did I not answer it? I'm not sure what it was. Let me just double check. I don't know what it was, but hope it's all right. Henry Winner says Smoker and Tashigi are so underused by Oda. I don't know about underused. It's just that Oda's got such a big world. When it's time for them to be back in the story, they'll be major players again. Like, you say that until they're back, and then suddenly they're major characters again, right? We felt that in Punk Hazard. It was like, oh, Alabasta happened and they're big characters, then they're out of the story or kind of side characters for another 400, 300 chapters or something like that. And suddenly they're major players in Alabasta again. Marcos Vinicius, thanks. Sup, Morge, is One Piece your favorite series, or do you have anything above it? Also, what are your hopes for Chainsaw Man Part 2? Yeah, One Piece is by far my favorite series. Like, there's nothing, I will honestly say there's no other series that I love. Like, I never use the word, like, oh, I love this series, like, seriously, except for One Piece. Like, no other movie, TV show, like, forget manga, anime. Like, there's no other movie, TV show, book series, anything like that comes close to how much I love One Piece. Like everything else I can kind of do without. Like I have other manga that I like a lot, right? But if I was never allowed to read that manga again, like there's no other manga that it's like, oh, you're never allowed to read this again, I would actually be too torn up about it. I'd be like, oh, damn, that sucks. I can never read, I don't know, Hunter x Hunter again. I can never read JoJo's again. Don't even want to talk about Berserk. I'm talking very casually, but the Berserk thing did mess me up a little bit. But like, I didn't have that strong of a bond to the series. I just really liked it. But when it happened, I was obviously very sad for all of the reasons that it made. Like, it's such a grand story with so much potential, so much. I'm not gonna go off on a Berserk thing or whatever, but like, it wasn't a thing though. Like, I very quickly came to terms with like, man, one of my top 2, 3, 4 favorite series. Not gonna get to read that any further. It's too bad, but it is what it is, right? Like, it wasn't like anything crazy. Whereas with One Piece, I don't know, man. If One Piece, if One Piece came to an end, it's that's something that's been with me since I was in 3rd grade. It's something I look forward to reading weekly for like the longest time. It's been like a very long constant in my life. There's no series I love like One Piece. There's actually no other series I love in general. There's no series like the fact that the thing happened with Berserk, and basically like a day later, I was like, all right, can't read Berserk anymore. Really, really sad about that, but it's not that like there's other manga in the sea, right? The fact that that's kind of, and that was like one of my top 2, 3 favorite series, just kind of goes to show a lot. You get what I'm saying? But with One Piece, it would not be like that. That would mess me up if One Piece just stopped. And this is about personal preferences, how much a series means to you. You guys understand that, right? Like, you don't have to try and convince me why like another series is really good. There's no other series that means as much to me as One Piece does. Katana no, thanks very much. Do you think Wano has made Marineford, quote, look cute? What do you think would be required for Wano to blow Marineford out of the water? No, Marineford makes Wano look cute at this moment, because it's not just about like the setup of Marineford was just on a drastically different scale. Like the amount of if you just go back and read the chapters, like Oda would literally devote entire chapters, like just entire chapters, to characters approaching the war and talking about the coming war. You understand? Like just chapters devoted to narration, exposition, just very, very slow-paced chapters leading up to that event. Like the hype behind that event was unlike anything else. And like he did, Act 2 was not like that. Act 2 was not like that whatsoever. Like Act 2 is like a lot of stuff happening and them talking about a raid, and now we're in it and stuff, and it's like this is not this was a whole secret invasion, so it's very different. So it's like an infiltration mission that's turned into something much bigger. But I think the biggest difference is that Marineford, you can say that Wano has had long build up to this event, and that's true, but Marineford had a tremendous amount of build up to the characters that were involved. In Wano, the only big heavy hitters that we were excited about, like 4 arcs back, were Kaido and Big Mom that are involved, and then Marco, right? So Kaido, Big Mom, Marco. Everything else, the Beast Pirates, etc., these are new characters we're being introduced to. In Marineford, my God, Whitebeard, Mihawk, Doflamingo, Kuma, Aokiji, Kizaru, Akainu, who we're finally meeting, Sengoku. These are all characters that we had been waiting years and years, like individually. Like I did a full video on this of what made Marineford so hype. Every individual character, every individual big hitter involved in the Marineford arc, we had gotten multiple major iconic scenes throughout the series, hyping those characters up and teasing those characters. Like King, Queen, these guys are cool and stuff, but like we just met them. The Tobiropo, they're cool and we're told that they're strong, but we just met them. It's nothing like in Marineford, you're looking over there, it's like, oh my God, Doflamingo is fighting Crocodile for some reason, or like Kuma is beating up on Oars or something, or like not like Kuma was beating up Oars Jr. or something, or like Mihawk just took a shot at Whitebeard. Like it was just mind blowing stuff because we had been waiting on each of those major heavy hitters for so long. In Wano, we have Kaido and Big Mom, and that's huge, and Marco is the addition. Those are the only 3 characters that are kind of like long-term hype characters that we've all been excited for. Everything else, it's like new characters that we're being told are strong, and we understand they're strong because they're Yonko commanders, right? Obviously, Whitebeard's side had that as well in the Marine Forward. Like, that was when we met Marco, Jozu, Vista, etc. But I'm talking more so about the world government side, which was just so insanely stacked with basically everything we'd been waiting on, every major character that we've been wanting to see fight for like 500 chapters was finally fighting. You understand what I'm saying? So no, Marine Forward and Wano, like it's like not even close. People who are saying that Wano is as hype as Marine Forward were not weekly readers during Marine Forward and have like completely forgotten. Like it's not even in the same stratosphere. That's not to say Wano can't get there. I think only the final war can really top Marine Forward's hype, because the final war is when all of the really, really big, like that's when we'll get Dragon, that's when we'll get Blackbeard, that's when we'll get Akainu. Like everyone really big at the same time that we've all been waiting for will fight. In Wano, it's just Kaido and Big Mom and like someone like Marco thrown in, for example. You get what I'm saying? But I think where Wano can surpass Marine Forward, it can't surpass it in hype in that sense unless like Marines start coming over and other major players start coming over. Like if you throw Fujitora in there, then suddenly it's like, whoa. If you throw Kizaru in there, suddenly it's like, whoa, this is getting really, really big. But Wano can surpass Marine Forward in terms of what happens story-wise, because this is actually, we get to see our guys, the Straw Hats, win, right? It's more of like an Enies Lobby type scenario than a Marine Forward type scenario, right? It's just got much stronger villains. So that's where I expect Wano to really make its money. Like it's got a hype setup, not Marine Forward hype, but a very, very hype setup. And it's the fact that we're getting to see our guys do it. Like we're getting to see Zoro fight against Kaido. We're getting to see Luffy fight against Kaido. That's what's so exciting. Like before in Marine Forward, it was just strong characters beating up on other strong characters. Luffy was just like an ant being tossed around in the winds. So that's the biggest difference, and that's what I'm really excited for. Gary Grant, thanks a lot. I can guarantee that Martial Peak can compare to One Piece. It's also a daily manga. If you ever have time, you'll trust me, you'll read it. Sure. I mean, I believe that it's good. I'm sure I believe it's good. It's just that, like, I'm not really looking for recommendations right now. I'll maybe take a quick peek, but, like, I'm not really looking for recommendations right now. Open the G. Zoro will tap into Conqueror's Haki by understanding or accepting the will of swords because they want to be forged into a Blackbeard, for example. Enma is taking Haki from Zoro, and Haki go hand in hand with wills. That's an interesting little take on it. That John says, breathe, man. Sometimes when I go off on, like, long individual thought tangents, I do just spit it out all in one go. Part of that is because I'm talking to stream and like new things are coming up, so I kind of want to finish my thought as soon as possible, but also do it justice, like also get all of my ideas out, all of the points I'm trying to say out. So it ends up becoming like a very fast-paced ramble, and then it's just done, and I don't breathe during that. So as for the Conqueror's Haki swords thing, it is true that swords, and I think they've even talked about it, how the spirit of a sword is passed on, etc., etc. But, like, I don't know if that's as, like, I've personally always felt that Conqueror's Haki is a little more related to, you know, spirit of a king, spirit of a conqueror, and it's open to interpretation of what that means, but I don't know as much about, like, being in touch with the swords really well as exactly along those same lines. Get what I'm saying? But maybe it's not, maybe I'm a little off. Sorry. A little bit of a long ramble, so my throat's a little gone. MMFNMM, how was your break, Morge? Question mark. Hope you're well. My break was good. It was a good break. It was, I won't say a super needed break. AJK says, more, please, man, fix your headphone cables. What's going on? Oh, you don't like this? Wait, you don't like they're tangled? Is that what you don't like? Is that a problem? Hicken B, thanks for the $2. I will fix it for you. So in general, the break was pretty good. Got to go hiking and stuff like that. I won't say it was like, oh, I really needed this break. In fact, I've been working on a bit of a project. I think I told some of you guys. I've been working on a bit of a project. So I'm actually in a mode right now where I'm trying to get as much stuff done for the project as possible. But it's probably better mentally, I guess, to take a break rather than just keep pushing. But you guys will see. It's another channel. I think I've told you guys this. It's another channel. And you guys don't know what it's about, but you'll find out. So get excited. And I think it's something many of you guys will enjoy. Goldie Luffy, thanks a lot. Do you have a favorite creature in Japanese mythology? No, not really. I mean, I like the design of Asian dragons. So that's basically it. Japanese mythology, I mean, I don't think I know enough about it to be like, oh, that's my favorite. Like, I like the idea of the nine-tailed fox. I get what it generally does, but that's about it. Subamask, thanks a lot. FMK. Oh, damn it. I'll play this, though. Fuck, marry, kill. Ulti, Black Maria, and Speed. Go. So you made this too easy. Kill Speed, because obviously, like, is that a joke? Speed is half horse. She's not falling into any of the two other categories. Then probably fuck Ulti, marry Black Maria. I think that just makes sense, right? Ulti, you couldn't live with her. That's crazy. You just could, like, her entire thing is how she's quick to anger, quick to snap. You can't marry her. So pretty straightforward. Vihawk says OnlyFans. Yeah, that's not the project, but it can be if there's enough interest. It can be. Hey, thanks a lot. Hey, Moji. People call me Moji. I don't like it, but I also kind of like it. It's just funny. I think some people actually think my name is Moji. I don't know why people put that Japanese spin on it, but like I've seen some people literally be like, Mr. Moji, and I think they use it so much that they don't know my real name is Mr. Morge or something like that. Or it's pronounced Morge. I don't get it. It can be. Thanks a lot. Hey, Moji, do you think Luffy falling in the sea and his life being in danger triggers Grand Fleet to head to Wano? No, I don't think just falling in the water is enough, because if that was the case, then, Luffy fell into the water the first day he arrived in Wano. Day 1. That's, in fact, actually how he got there. So I don't think that's enough to send the Grand Fleet coming over. Open the G, thanks a lot. But in Alabasta, when Zoro was fighting Mr. 1, he sensed Sophia when the swords was talking to him. Yeah, I get that, but I interpreted he felt the breadth of all things, right? I interpreted that closer to observation hockey. At least that's just what it felt like to me. Closer to observation hockey. Griffith Chad says, more Jojo. Griffith Chad, I feel bad for you because anytime I see a Berserk, a Berserk username, Berserk avatar or something, I'm just like, feel bad for you, man. I know how you're hurting. Because I know how I'd feel I think I know how I'd feel if One Piece went down. Straw Hat SB says, Morge, how did he get so thick? I am not thick. I'm not thick. I'm like not thick at all. Victor May says, what's Yamato's fruit? I'm gonna run with the White Tiger. Just makes sense. Right? Just makes sense. Princess Taco, thanks a lot. Sorry I'm late. How has the stream been? No fail. No. Everybody, pause real quick. You all realize that this stream and last stream have gone on for at least, last stream was over an hour, no internet connection problems. This stream, over an hour. I've been streaming for, I'm not sure. How long have I been streaming? How do I tell? How would I even, no, I have no idea. How long have I been streaming? It should say somewhere. 53 minutes. 53 minutes? No problem. No problems. Isn't that pretty amazing? So the reason being, I just moved downstairs and the internet's better here. So that's basically what we're going to do next time. Alright? So from here on, we're going to have good audio, we're going to have good internet, and we're going to have a good stream. Oh, we're going to get a better web camera. That's also coming. But that's basically it. Owo says, Poggers, question mark. Keep that Twitch chat nonsense out of this stream. Please. Good fucking God. Unless, of course, I move to Twitch and start streaming there, in which case, spam whatever the hell you want. But we don't want to be one of these, I don't know, just trashy Twitch streams where there's no actual discussion or questions. Just dumb emotes and memeing. And I fucked up. And now it's all Pog. And now it's all Omega Lulz. So now we have to call it a stream. Because we're not going to continue with this, right? Okay, we're moving along a little bit. Moving along. All right, MMM26. Morge, you missed a €5 dono from me. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can MMM26, can you post your comment again? Can you post your comment again? Amidst all the pogs and the omega lulls? And then when we see it, everyone point out to me what MMM26's comment was. Mods, I'm especially counting on you. Watch for MMM26's comment. Greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Michael A., someone asked, and I may have missed your answer, but what devil fruit would you take? Here's the problem, by the way, just with the donation things. It's hard, so I don't know if you guys have seen it, but like it'll come up for a while and it'll stay in like in a tab towards the top for me for a while, and then if there's too many at a time, then eventually one will fade away. And it almost never fades away, right? Like I'm quick to catch all of them, etc. But like occasionally that is why I'm not like actively trying to forget or like not like I can't scroll back up past a certain point to find it. So I'm sorry about that. I always make an effort to like make sure that if someone's was missed, then I rely on chat to fill me in on what was missed. So we'll get back to you, MMM. Michael A., thanks a lot. Someone asked, and I may have missed your answer, but what devil fruit would I take? I would take the Phoenix fruit. Phoenix fruit is pretty cool. You can fly. Or the Kuma fruit because you can teleport. Those are the two that I think are... I like those two the best. MMM... I don't see MMM. Looking for MMM. MMM, did you post it again? Hello? I don't see him. Let's hope he gets back. In the meantime, let me answer Edward Rossman. And Story Morge is going to have the best video, audio, internet out of all the One Piece YouTubers. Yeah, I guess that's the goal. What a low bar. Not as an insult. I don't mean that as an insult to other One Piece YouTubers. It's just like... Jeez, that's just like, that's the only bar, just to have a better stream setup than other One Piece YouTubers. It's not even that many other One Piece YouTubers. X7 Strife, thank you so much. So MMM26 said, Strife is the most reliable mod by far. All other mods should aspire. I know many of you are doing very good work. Many of you are doing very good work. Aslan, Alexandre, but none of you are Strife. Hopefully that doesn't make you guys go on strike, but maybe just, I don't know. Strive to be like Strife. Will the Strides come back to their matchups if the raid fails? Not feel contrived in some way. It's all good, lol. I think it is I would personally assume that, yeah, it's one of those things, like, if Luffy loses against an opponent and then has to come back and fight him again later, I would feel like it wouldn't be that out of place for the Straw Hats to have that same situation happen to them. We've had this happen before. Zoro losing to Kaku in a sense in Enies Lobby and then going back to fight Kaku again. I personally like that a little better because it gives the satisfaction of us getting to see the matchups we thought we were going to see, but it doesn't feel so straightforward. Like, it feels like they had to grow and get better and stronger to actually be able to be on the level to take on a Yonko's crew 1v1. Because if they're all able to do that by the end of it, then the Straw Hats just are a Yonko crew. Like, they are just as stronger than what was maybe the strongest Yonko crew before this. At least on par with, you know what I mean? So I would like to see that. I would like to see them get to that level, but not make it so easy. Sean Holmes, thanks a lot. Did you see CP0 and the rest of the Big Mom Pirates staying out of the action in Wano? I would prefer no. I think that the Big Mom Pirates are going to be able to, because that island is going to land at some point, right? Even if Momonosuke holds it up, the island is going to land at some point. So I do think that the Big Mom Pirates are going to catch up. I think CP0 is going to play a role. I think the Big Mom Pirates are going to play a role. I mean, you guys all know, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, essentially, with how the things are looking for the Straw Hats in terms of this raid. Justin Holland, thanks a lot. Would you say the Wano, the country, is the key to everything? P.S. Yet that ENT manages to impress both sides of the war with the will of... Oh, yeah, that ENT. You're referring to Luffy. Yep. Luffy did impress. I liked how they treated Luffy throughout Marineford, in that he wasn't a scrub. He was a scrub, but he was a scrub with so much potential that he actually was able to swing the tides of the war in certain ways. And really, really impressed everyone in certain ways. But then at the end of the day, he still had to experience failure and realize that just having willpower isn't enough. So really like that. Wano the country is the key to everything. It is going to be a big, big deal. Oda is setting up a lot of important points in terms of why Wano is important. Even just the fact that I think Toki was trying to get to Wano and she's come all the way from the Void Century. What does that mean? Why was she trying to get back there? The conversation between Sengoku and Akainu about, oh, do you think Wano's not important? You think we can afford to skip out on going to Wano? Things like that. I don't know. I think Wano is definitely going to be important. Alex Lopez, thanks a lot. Mr. Moore, this is a little amount. I don't care. I appreciate it anyway. But I'd like to let you know that I enjoy all the stuff you put out there. Keep doing you. Thanks a lot, Alex Lopez. Don't feel bad about that whatsoever. Thank you very much for helping out. Sierra Ba says, Who will Zoro fight after Chopper fixes up? Kaido or King? I think King. Juan Perez says, get hashtag cancel Morge trending for mod mistreatment. No, I fucked up. No, AJK. Oh my god, I messed up. Have you guys seen shoot. Have you guys seen everyone's seen The Lion King? Listen. Calm down. We can sort this out. You guys misunderstood me. Would it help if I unmodded Strife? Would that make things better? Strife, I need to unmod you. Where are you? Oh no. Have you guys seen the end of The Lion King? Where all the hyenas turn on Scar? Scar's like, my friends. And they're like, friends? I thought you said we were your enemies. Or the bad guys or something like that. You guys remember that? Yeah, so that's how Morge is feeling right now. Listen, guys. It was a joke. It was a joke. You don't understand. I was joking. I don't like Strife. I like you guys. I'll unmod Strife the first chance I get as soon as I see him around here. He's done for. Sorry, Strife, you're a casualty in the mod rebellion. Red hair. This is, by the way, my biggest fear. For the longest time, I said eventually the mods will take over the stream, and it's happening in front of my eyes. Red hair days. Thanks a lot. Thoughts on Sabo being bad? Something doesn't feel right. He enjoyed crushing skulls too much in Dressrosa. Thanks for the stream, man. I don't know. I like the fact that Sabo's got a bit of spice in him, but I don't think necessarily that. As Strife says, I dare you, Morge. Oh my god, Strife called my bluff. Strife knows I can't ban him. The entire stream would go to shit because all the other mods are bad. I mean, oh no, now I've doubled down on it. We're digging deeper and deeper. Oh man. Wonder what a modless stream would look like. Probably be as bad as an actual Twitch chat. So Sabo being bad, I don't think that Sabo's actually like got an evil streak in him or anything like that. I think that was just a way for Oda to spice up his character a little bit and make him a little more distinct because you're trying to break out of Ace's shadow essentially as a character, right? He's trying to break that character out of Ace's shadow. So, it's not necessarily something we saw from him as a kid, but growing up and seeing more and more of the injustices in the world, especially being part of the Revolutionary Army, that might have helped push him in that direction. So I like that that's a part of his character. Even though we didn't see that as part of his childhood, like his childhood personality. Captain Face, if the raid fails, how would you feel about Brooks' big moment this arc being him putting on a concert to hype up the remaining Oh! Captain Face with a really, really cool idea. I love it. I really like that idea. I mean, like, I don't think it's, like, I wouldn't bet on it or anything like that, but I like it. Vinay says, what happened to the Wano report? PS, love your content. Thanks a lot, Vinay. So the Wano report, and there was a tweet about that earlier today that O'Hara even tagged me in that I have yet to respond to. Hopefully O'Hara's not in this chat watching me right now. But with the Wano report, it will happen soon. Last I talked to O'Hara was when I was on vacation, basically, so a little bit ago. We're going to set a time. We're going to do it soon. I don't know if Wano report will ever be regular again, but we are going to try and get back into doing it at least. That's basically it. It's just harder to do it regular because now we're in such different time zones, and I'm also going to be a lot busier once, because I have to keep all of the content for the current channel going consistently at the current quality it's at, or better, always trying to improve, while also trying to grow a second channel, which is coming soon. You guys should be excited about that one. Ishwar Navin, thanks a lot. Unfortunately, couldn't make it to the live stream, but this is the live stream. You're in it. Congratulations. You're in the live stream. In any case, I'm really enjoying the awesome videos you put out. Road to 200K, let's go. Yeah, 200K is so far away that I don't even think about it like the road to 200K. Now it's just going to happen when it happens, so I'm not really pushing it or anything like that. So, road to 200K, yeah, we're technically on it. It's just like a long, long road. Maybe we hit it this summer. Maybe it's by the end of the year. I don't know, but let's wait and see. Calliope Shift, thanks a lot. First time catching you live. Love your narrative analysis. Thanks a lot, man. Thorough, intuitive, and passionate. Also, I legit cracked up over the mod drama. Yeah, if you watch the narrative analysis and then come see me in my streams, then you probably lose some degree of respect for me. But don't worry, it's It's not anything that should detract from the quality of my analysis videos. Maybe don't watch the streams if you don't want to lose respect for me. That's all I gotta say. Brown Kakashi, thanks a lot. That's a funny name. If only Sanji were to use his hand, he would be as strong as Zoro, if not stronger. Oda hyped Sanji's hand for a reason. He'd have to use them in the future. No. Sanji will never use his hands. That's one of the important parts of Sanji's character that... In fact, that's one of the key differences between Sanji and Zoro, right? This is something I've, like, mentioned. I think people don't really get how drastically different... Like, the difference between Zoro and Sanji is so... Like, it's embedded in literally the way Oda designed their fighting styles. And that Zoro is a character who... If you watch my Zoro video, I stress how much he wants it, how much he wants to be the strongest swordsman, how inhuman his drive is, how he's putting his body, soul, etc. on the line for this, right? And that's represented in his fighting style. He doesn't just use a sword. He doesn't just use both his hands to fight, right? He is the first three-sword style user in fiction, like a regular three. Like, that's how he fights. He will always fight with three swords. He will use anything he can. He will use both his hands and his mouth. It's like, oh, we take it for granted at this point, but it's supposed to be over the top, right? Who fights with three swords? Why are you fighting with, like, you're even using your mouth to fight, right? Like, anything that you can do to, like, push yourself further, like, his entire body he's turning into a weapon as much as he can, right? It's obsessive. It's over the top. Sanji is the opposite. Sanji is a very, very strong character who prioritizes, who thinks of himself still as a chef first. He's a chef who happens to be a monster, right? And he is a character who sticks it's about ideals and sticking to your code and your code, what you're supposed to do, code as a chef, code of chivalry, right? Code of how he treats women. He's a very, like, code-based character, and a lot of that came through in Baratie, but also in Whole Cake Island, and a lot of that goes down to how, no matter what, no matter how unreasonable it is, he will never use his hands to fight. It's the opposite of Zoro. Zoro is so obsessed with fighting and becoming the strongest, etc., that every part of his body that he can use to fight, he's using it to fight. Sanji is the complete opposite in that, like, he is a monster. He's able to fight, but he cares about cooking first, so he doesn't even use his hands to fight. It's like, that's how dedicated he is to his code of honor. Even if it's a life or death fight, he's never going to use his hands. He's just never going to use his hands. That's what's so crazy about him. Like, those two opposite mentalities from start to finish. That's why it's such a cool dynamic. Dapper Ash _ Ash. Think there'll be any Haki awakenings in the other Straws who don't have it during the raid? I often think of so I don't want to talk about that too much here because that is, like, essentially a potential good video topic. But I do think that talking about the Straws who currently have Haki, I would say Usopp, I think, will get another bloom. I think Zoro and Sanji should get another bloom. Luffy's already gotten his bloom, but he can still kind of keep upgrading it. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to get into who I think will or won't have Haki going forward. Mark Riley, thanks a lot. Which devil fruits, if any, do you believe would be worth more than the Ope Ope no Mi 5 billion berries in the One Piece world? Maybe the Gura Gura no Mi, based on how they hyped it up. The power to destroy the world. Like, that's essentially an ancient weapon right there, so it's like, what would they pay for Pluton, for example? Maybe the Gura Gura no Mi, maybe the Yami Yami no Mi, because I think we haven't fully explored what exactly the full potential of it can do. Like, it cancels out other devil fruits. It's a very powerful ability. But I think the Gura Gura no Mi, based on the way it was talked about, is maybe something that'd be worth even more than that. Calliope Shift says, sorry for doubting, for doubling up, lol. No respect, lol. Lost, just a growing sense that you'd be fun to grab a beer with. Or a blunt, whichever, I guess. Thanks, man. So, beer or blunt, I would go with definitely a beer, just because I'm a little strange in that, like, I'm not a very social smoker, if that makes sense. So, like, everyone's a social drinker, obviously, but smoking is something that, I used to be, like, in college and stuff like that, but over time it's become, like, something like, oh, want to helps me sleep, or, like, oh, just watching some TV or reading manga or something like that. Like, it's more of a me relaxation sort of thing. Although I smoke with my roommate all the time because, I mean, like, that's different. That's just, like, chilling with someone you know really well, right? But in general, if you don't know me well, I'm not fun to smoke with because, like, I'm just not very social when I smoke. I'm like, oh, let's watch something. I'm just going to watch something. Axon, thanks a lot. Hey, love your videos. I made an outro song for Ohara back when he hit 100K, although he's barely used it, LMAO. Could I make one for you as well? Yeah, let me check out Ohara's outro song, Not that I'm sure your outro song's not great, but let me check it out. I do have a current outro song, I guess, that is used a little bit, but like, I mean, let me check it out. I'll I see my Twitter DMs aren't open and stuff like that. Just message me saying that you're the person. Just at me on Twitter saying you're the person who asked about the outro song. It won't be that hard to find you. And then I can follow. You can show me, etc. Figure out what your price is, etc. Thanks a lot for the offer. Straw Hats SB says sleep, sleep, no me. So I did, I did not get a lot of sleep on the vacation. Basically, I did not get a lot of sleep on the vacation. At all. Like it was not a, yeah, it's not a, like not a exhausting vacation necessarily. It was a lot of hiking and stuff, but like I just didn't get just like a lot of stuff to do. A lot of stuff to do. So today is basically the first day back. I was actually potentially not gonna work today, but I did end up working. So like did wrote a video that's coming out basically 2 days from now and stuff like that. So figured I'd cap it off with a stream because I'm trying to continue to stream on Mondays. It just makes it easier. Like if that schedule is consistent. So trying to continue to stream on Mondays at about 8 p.m. Beyond that, basically like I think I can power through streaming. Like the stream's going pretty well. I think I'm gonna power through streaming wise till at least 10, and then we might start winding down around then. All right. Maybe a little later after 10. I think 10 is when I'll start winding down. So, don't know what winding down means. Could be another 20 minutes, could be another 10 minutes. I don't know. On that note, Moaz Abbasi says, why doesn't Blackbeard sleep? I think Blackbeard is like one of the most interesting characters out there at this moment. Right? In terms of potential backstories to get. If I had to say potential backstories to get that I'm most interested in right now, it would be... Shoot, that's very hard because Dragon is up there as well. Let's not count Void Sentry stuff. Not counting Void Sentry stuff, let's say Blackbeard. Let's say Dragon. By the way, I see Juan Perret timing people out and stuff like that. I appreciate all of the mods who like make sure that this chat doesn't go out off the rails. I think all of the mods I have are good mods who are like on top of stuff. I think we generally have a pretty good chat. To be clear. It's just that Strife is the best. But these rankings could easily shift. I see Juan Perret doing some bans. That's all I'm saying. Dragon won his backstory. Spinach Shade says mod tier list. Oh, that'll be hilarious. No. My stream would be destroyed after that. They would go on a rampage. I'd be able to do nothing about it. Dragon backstory I want a lot. Blackbeard backstory I want a lot. Akainu backstory I want a lot. I think Akainu has a great backstory. Kuma's backstory suddenly became like a wildly interesting there's so many good backstories. I hope Oda has time to give justice to each of them. Easy News explains. Thanks a lot. Power scaling question. How many Fujitoras would it take to lift Onigashima like Kaido? Oh, that's interesting. I mean, Fujitora did lift that entire city. I don't even know if it's like power scaling, because like I don't view Kaido's flame clouds as like an offensive ability. You know what I mean? Like it's just can make things float. I guess that's the same with Fujitoras, so I guess it is power scaling. Yeah, I mean it is essentially power scaling. I will give it to... I don't actually know. It's hard to tell. I'll give it to Fujitora because his ability is literally gravity. So I'll give it to Fujitora. But I don't know. Kaido has the bigger feat, I suppose, of lifting an island. Sobamask, thanks a lot. Imagine the pie scene in The Help, but I didn't see the Help. But I will try to imagine this hypothetical pie scene. Justin Holland, thanks a lot. Did Kaido know about Luffy from Marineford? It's hard to tell where exactly Kaido, when exactly Luffy got on Kaido's radar. right? It's kind of hard to tell, but it could have been Marineford. But I mean, from all we can really tell, it was basically like maybe it was Luffy was like a small little blip on his radar, and then he became a big blip once the Dressrosa incident happened, right? Like we saw that in the chapter Little Pirate Games. Joey Jojo, like seeing you just because you got a fun name to say. How do you feel if every straw gets hockey? I would not like that. I would not like that. I think it's a little more unique in my mind if like like there's no reason Frankie should even get hockey. Like there's nothing that he would ever need it for. Seastone should be part of his arsenal if anything like that if he's supposed to be dealing with Logia, but like it just doesn't like you don't need to it becomes a little less unique. Like I think it's really cool that Usopp has observation hockey. And even though he's not the strongest Straw Hat, he has observation hockey, which is a niche ability that just fits him really well. If they all just start getting armament observation and stuff, it just feels, it feels like it dilutes it a little bit. I think it'd be really cool if Nami develops observation hockey, but if Frankie gets like armament hockey, it's like why? What's the point? Like you were never being matched up against Logias anyway. There's no foreseeable Logia matchup for you in the future. And even if there is, why isn't Frankie in the country of Wano, which is all about Seastone? Why isn't Seastone being added to Frankie's arsenal? Like, there's so many more interesting ways that fit Frankie's character and the development of weapons and manufacturing new tools and new ways to fight and deal with threats, like incorporating the Pacifista laser, creating mech suits and mech armors and stuff like that. There's so many more unique routes that we can see improvement for someone like Frankie that hockey just feels like so much more boring for a character like Frankie. It's really interesting for like if you want to be like, oh well, what are the branches of hockey that someone like a fighter like Sanji could develop? But for a fighter like Frankie, who's already got something really interesting and different and unique going on, I would rather see progression in that route than in hockey. You know what I mean? Ninerbot, thanks a lot. Favorite One Piece movie? Also, Kobe will get Conqueror's hockey. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, I think Kobe could get Conqueror's hockey. I'd be on board with that. Favorite One Piece movie? I'm not big on One Piece movies, but one that I've seen, really the only one that I've seen, yeah, literally the only one I've seen was Baron Omatsuri and the Secret Island. I'm pretty sure that was the full name. I thought it was cool. It wasn't really One Piece, but that was why I was okay with watching it. One Piece movies I generally don't watch because to me it's just fan fiction. I'm not really interested in that. You know, it's just well animated fan fiction, I guess. But Baron Omatsuri is like a different vibe. It's a more it's a bit of a trippier One Piece movie. It's got like a different angle on it. It's more like taking the One Piece characters and kind of having a weird fan fiction-y, surreal twist on some sort of adventure that they could hypothetically go on. So I viewed it as different than I would a normal One Piece movie, which is why I was okay with watching it. Super Frankie7, thanks a lot. Hi, Mord, you're dope. Thank you very much. 2 ideas. What if Dragon happens to be close to / as strong as Garp in his prime? Hiyori has the real Kozuki blood and is like Odin. If Dragon... I mean, Dragon, for all we know, Dragon could be as strong as Garp in his prime. For all we know. Like, Dragon has shown so little so far. My roommate's coming down to get his DoorDash. Hiyori has the real Kozuki blood and is like Odin. What does that mean? What do you mean the real Kozuki blood? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. If you're saying Hiyori is strong like Odin, unlike Momonosuke, that'd be pretty cool. El Cadillo says, get an Ethernet adapter for your laptop. Wow, we're doing fine. Also, I have my Ethernet port. My laptop doesn't have an Ethernet port. Yeah, it just doesn't have an Ethernet port. Otherwise, I would have gotten it. That's why I've shifted to just, shooting from, or not shooting, like streaming from downstairs. Because Ethernet port, where it's closer to the modem, what is it called? Modem? Where it's closer to the internet thing that's plugged into the wall. So my internet's better down here. Isaiah Davis, thanks a lot. If Big Mom uses her devil fruit on Luffy's hat and came alive, do you think the hat would know about the Void Century? That would be pretty funny, but I don't think so. I don't think Zeus knows about the Void Century. You know what I mean? Are you saying because the hat has been passed down for a while? Because then I think, no, I don't think the homies retain information about what they inhabit. Easy News explains, thanks. How would you feel about Zebek time leaping and making it to the final battle? Whew. I would not necessarily like it, but I could see it kind of happening. Who's saying 3:55 a.m.? What are you guys talking about? I'm on Eastern time. I'll share that much. So it's 9:58 p.m. for me. Nothing crazy. Oh, I guess you guys are just up really late. The Pirate Hero, thanks a lot. Do you think Garp will have Conqueror's Haki? I really hope he doesn't, so it shows you can still be very... Yeah, I kind of am on board with you. I'm kind of on board with you that, you know, like, it wouldn't feel out of character, I suppose, for Garp to have Conqueror's Haki, but it would feel like a little tacked on, like, okay, now you're just giving the strong characters to Conqueror's Haki for the sake of the strong characters having Conqueror's Haki. I would prefer if Garp is just a beast with really, really strong armament, you know what I mean? That's my preference, basically. It's definitely my preference. Victor Mays says, will you talk about other mangas like Kimetsu no Yaiba? Yaiba is not a manga that I've read, so it probably wouldn't be, even if I was talking about other manga, I don't think, I would probably have to read it, and then if I enjoyed it, and if I felt I had a lot to say about it, then adding it to the things that I want to discuss, right? So if I enjoyed it, then I would add it to things I want to discuss. As it is right now, I don't know if I'm going to be doing other manga. It's very frustrating because I have several other manga, for example, Berserk that recently came to a close, obviously, but Berserk, JoJo's, Vinland, Chainsaw Man. There are several other manga that I have extensive notes on because I've taken to, like, as this slowly became a job, right, I started thinking if I'm branching out to other manga, then I should obviously be taking a lot of notes as I read. So, like, notes on like different chapters and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that's why I'm good at One Piece analysis. I just take a lot of notes as I read, so then your thoughts compound on newer thoughts and everything like that. So you get a very comprehensive list of ideas and interpretations and stuff, and like just picking up on certain things. If you take a lot of notes as you read, like, oh, this could mean this, oh, that would connect to this, etc., etc. That's how you generally get a good feel for what an arc is about. What are the ideas running through it? How does each character, arc or plot line or theme connect to other pieces of the arc, etc., right? So, like, you kind of had to do that, at least in my opinion, to do really, really good justice to a certain series. So that's how I approached when I reread Berserk, when I read all the way through JoJo's for the first time, when I read it all the way through Vinland Saga, when I was reading Chainsaw Man for the second time, etc. So I have a lot of notes on a lot of these other series, and I was planning on starting to incorporate them into this channel as well and start doing videos on that. I don't know if that's going to be the case in the future because I have a second channel planned that won't actually be about other manga, but it will be related in a sense. You guys will see pretty soon what that other channel is. And I don't know time-wise if I'm going to be able to do One Piece, which is still the main focus, second channel, and then other manga series on top of it. If I do other manga series, it'll have to be later on down the line. And one other really big point that I want to say is that I never want to do videos on series that I already feel have got plenty of high-quality content. All right, so for example, Hunter x Hunter, I have a lot of thoughts on Hunter x Hunter, but I personally feel from seeing like other videos that people have done on Hunter x Hunter that I'm not going to add that much more to the table in Hunter x Hunter. I've only read it once. Maybe if I read it through again, took a bunch of notes this time, I would feel like I have a lot more to add about Hunter x Hunter. But as it is right now, I could say some stuff, but there's nothing that I would like really feel passionate about making a Hunter x Hunter video about. Berserk is different because I feel like I have a lot of good thoughts on Berserk. Same with Chainsaw Man especially. I feel like that's very untouched territory. I really, really want to talk about that. And Vinland Saga. And even JoJo's to a degree. It's just that I just don't know if I have the time. Alex Gregro, does Luffy get lightsaber next arc? His whole character story feels like Luke Skywalker's. Plus feels like now he now has the Force. I definitely don't think Luffy's character arc is similar to Luke Skywalker's. I think they're fairly different, but I would agree that he has it does feel like he has the Force. And interestingly enough, obviously it's not a lightsaber, but Luffy is based off of Sun Wukong, a soft inspiration for Luffy, and Sun Wukong did use a staff that extended, much like rubber. So it's something that's maybe there. MU, I might have missed this. MU says, did you ever consider writing something yourself or teaching others how to analyze? I'm not interested in talking about like my own what I would like to do in terms of like anything essentially that's creative in terms of what I want to do. I'm just not interested in sharing that essentially. I will say yes, basically, and that is like a long-term goal of mine for sure. But I'm just not interested in sharing that here. As for teaching others how to analyze, no, not really either. But I will say that like a big thing that I think a lot of people miss is like you get so much out of just taking notes. Just take notes. Like it changes. If you literally approach like One Piece was different because I read One Piece for so long, and it was only after I started the YouTube channel that I start like when I would reread arcs, then I would start taking notes and stuff. Um, but for any new series I approached, right, or even a series I was rereading like Berserk, if I'm going through it and I'm like, I actually want to be able to analyze this series, you should take notes on everything. Like it should be to the point that it's not fun anymore almost. Okay? And that's rough to say, but like when I was reading through Berserk with the goal of like, oh, I want to potentially be able to do videos on this later because I like this series. Um, at the end of every chapter, I would write every little interesting thing that came out of it. It made it not fun past a certain point. Sometimes I'd be like, okay, let me get through 10 chapters and then go back and do the notes for it or something like that. But you just that's just the key, because otherwise you good analysis comes from like looking through all of the little things you observed and kind of figuring out like what are the bigger things that are being implied or coming from it. What quotes feel most important? How is it connecting back to an older quote? How's it connecting back to even like some imagery that we saw or like a little metaphor or something like that? That's when you get something really thorough. Axel V, thanks a lot. Foxy return. Oh no. Foxy returning. My bad. Foxy returning as an ally of Luffy, or a Blackbeard ally due to this whole rocks invented the. I don't think Foxy's really coming back, in my opinion. I just don't think he's a fun enough villain to return, and I don't think he's a significant enough villain to return. Like Buggy was a fun enough villain to return, but like guys like Kuro and stuff, I think that's more like Foxy. Elias Perez, thanks a lot. You'll more love the content. Let's talk about this possibility. Frankie being the one most viable with armament, and him coating the Sunny with hockey. Coating the Sunny with hockey. That's an interesting idea, but I think no, because I personally think that the Sunny, like just through sheer craftsmanship, should be a good enough ship that like it's never in danger of something like that. You know what I mean? Like the Sunny is, yeah, just in terms of sheer craftsmanship. You know what I mean? Like the swords Zoro has, yes, they'll become stronger when they're imbued with hockey, but what makes them a good sword is the craftsmanship that they're made with in the first place before any hockey is applied to them, right? So I think the same should apply to the Sunny, in my opinion. Sharkman RF24, thanks a lot. One Piece / Food Wars crossover manga, only 2 chapters. I can do an analysis video on that, sure. It's in the works. It's in the works. I've not read that. I'll read it. HJK, thank you very much. I appreciate you pushing the likes. I do think I'm really appreciate you pushing the likes. Yeah, you probably bumped up my likes by like quite a bit, which I don't know. Like this has been one of the biggest streams that I've had so far. I think probably hit 1,500 viewers at one point. I do think I'm going to be winding down. Probably going to try and end at 10:15. So in my time, that's basically 8 minutes from now, 9 minutes from now, 9 minutes from now. Bad math. David993, thanks a lot. Do you feel like the ending of One Piece will feel too rushed? That's my greatest concern. It depends. It really depends. I gotta wait on Wano to play out essentially. Because Wano has felt packed at certain points. You know what I mean? Wano has felt packed at certain points, but it's also like all of the important points it feels like we're going to get plenty of time for. And the bigger things like Garp's backstory, Dragon's backstory, Void Century, and all of that stuff, like, those are, once that stuff starts coming into play, it'll be like beyond like individual arc to arc stuff, if that makes sense. Like Wano, a lot of the packed content comes from new information we learn about the island of Wano, its storylines, etc. But once we get to the end game stuff, it'll just be larger, big picture stuff. So I think anything we get will not feel rushed necessarily. We'll just be happy to be getting it, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, even if we get Yeah, I think it's just that, like, oh, if maybe the scabbard section was a little rushed during Odin's backstory, it's like rough because it's like these are new pieces of information that we want to learn about newer characters in like a newer location. But in the big picture of things, it's like I think it's hard to be disappointed with any of the larger scale character storylines or flashbacks or like world lore that we get into. You know what I mean? So maybe I don't think it'll be too rushed. But let's see how Wano goes. If like the final fights of Wano are really rushed, then maybe I'll be singing a different tune by the end of this. Davey993, thanks a lot. Do you feel like the ending of One Piece will be oh wait. Literally just answered you. Sorry. Little tired right now. Julian Burwell, thanks a lot. How strong do you think Sanji would be if you put Diamond Jozo's fruit into the raid set? If you put Diamond Jozo's fruit into the raid set, I don't think. I mean, like the raid suits aren't supposed to be. The raid suits aren't supposed to be heavy, right? So I guess like Diamond is gonna. What do you call? Weigh it down a little bit. I don't really know how that would work. I mean, this question's just a little too hard to answer. You know what I mean? I think it's a little too hard to answer. Because I think we've yet to see how strong the raid suit is as is, if that makes sense. I'd like to see Sanji get a full fight with that. Easy News explains, thanks a lot. You think anyone from Whitebeard or Roger's crew will come back? Oh, you mean like Scopper Gaban or something like that? Yeah, I think Scopper Gaban could come back. I just don't know if it's that important. Does that make sense? Like, what does Scopper Gaban bring to the story in terms of like is he gonna explain things? Is it gonna be lore? Why can Rayleigh not just do this? You know what I mean? Like, and if you bring Scopper Gaban back, then like suddenly people are gonna want to fight out of him and everything like that. Like, we don't want to see him in action a bit more. You're gonna have to carve out some story space for him. Like, Rayleigh was a centerpiece of the Sabaody Archipelago arc, so you kind of have to like carve out a section of the story anytime you're bringing in a new important character. Al Cadillo says, missed my super chat. Let me take a look real quick. Sorry about that. Hey, Anuj Agarwal, how's it going? Let me take a look for El Cadillos. Someone's still saying free oof. Man, you're living in the past. Oof is ancient history. Who cares about oof at this point? Not me, that's for sure. El Cadillo, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to... Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me what you said. I think I missed it. I'll just look out for your comment. Guys, no more super chats from here. I'm gonna wind the stream down, end it in the next 5 minutes, basically. So no more super chats. I do want to see El Cadillo say something, so I can answer that. But besides that, I think, yeah, I'm just gonna answer whatever question I see that's interesting. No, should never have mentioned oof. Now you guys are gonna want justice for him. If there was ever someone less deserving of justice, it's probably oof. Adila Wazir says, will Sanji get Konkurasaki? I don't think so. I don't think Sanji's getting Konkurasaki. Omar Gaskin says, what's your take on the Sabo Vivi situation? I do feel like they're going to be taken captive, essentially, to possibly spur Luffy on to have a motive for going into the final battle, something along those lines. Easy News explains, thanks a lot. You think the Vista... No, okay, sorry. Easy News explains, thank you, but seriously, no more super chats from here on. My bad. No more super chats from here on. I will not answer the next super chat. Okay? The only person I'm waiting on is El Cadillo for his normal comments that I can respond to that. But I will answer you, Easy News explains. You think a Vista versus Zoro fight will ever happen? I don't think so. I don't think it's ever going to be necessary, just because past a certain point, we're going to, like... I think past this arc, Zoro will be, in my opinion, clearly ahead of wherever Vista was. You know what I mean? Like, Zoro is potentially going to take on King or something at this point. Like, Zoro cut Kaido, of all people. Zoro blocked an attack from 2 Yonko at the same point. You know, like, it's, I think I saw El Cadillo say something. Get a USB to Ethernet adapter. Oh, no, El Cadillo, I did see your comment. I forgot to respond to it. I'm sorry about that. Get a USB to Ethernet adapter. That is a good idea. I might do that because the internet here is really good. It's been at full bars so far. But I do want to be able to stream from my room rather than just taking over the downstairs. So, yeah, I might just look into that. Asia Kisses, if we can reach 700 likes, Morge will do a Bollywood song. Come on, guys. Guys, that's... No. I would have to turn the stream off. Can't go through with this, that's for sure. Nurak says, do you sometimes think analyzing One Piece reduces your enjoyment? No, because One Piece is like... One Piece is... Oh. Congrats, we had 701. Bollywood dance incoming. Probably do that at I'll do that in 10 minutes, guys, assuming the stream's still up. I'm gonna turn it off in 2 minutes. So, analyzing One Piece is different. Like, I've read the full series, right? Like, I've read the full series. When I reread arcs and stuff like that, I haven't reread an arc in a minute. I think Enies Lobby I knew well enough that I didn't have to reread it, but like, it's just, yeah, I just don't have to reread arcs that much anymore. I used to, especially when I was starting, like, first 2 years on YouTube, I would reread arcs regularly because I like rereading them, but because I knew the series so well, like, the notes that I would take from them weren't anything crazy. Does that make sense? Guys, no super chats. Masuyo G says loser doesn't answer super chat. No, that... what am I going to do? Not answer this? Don't super chat. I will answer Micah Twombly because I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he came in after said no more super chats. Thank you very much, Micah. Do you think Zoro will unlock his observation like you think Sanji will? I don't know if Zoro's going to have a big step in observation. I don't think that that's necessarily the route. Like, to me, Conqueror seems like the next major route of improvement for Zoro. I think his observation is probably just going to be fine just the way it is from here on. I think Sanji will upgrade in observation because that feels like his specialty to a degree. All right. That is all for this stream, guys. You are going to miss out on the Bollywood dance because I'm going to be prepping and doing that in 5 minutes, but unfortunately that will be post-stream, so I think you guys are going to miss out on it. I'll do it in front of the camera and everything like that, but I'm just afraid I won't be live. Just the way of the world. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I will talk to you all next Monday, and look out for videos this week, probably Wednesday, and then obviously the chapter review. Talk to you all later.